So I just finished watching Steven Crowder's new video, and if you've been watching this channel, you would know that Crowder is a guy that I have very mixed feelings on. But I do want to give credit where credit is due. He does produce a lot of actually good content, including many of his recent videos, including the newest one where he pointed out YouTube censorship and how they blacklist certain creators. And he does have a very large audience, and it's good that he makes others aware of this. I've known about this for years because I've been on YouTube a long time, and I have another YouTube channel that's much larger than this. And there is documentation. I've known about it even before all the documentations come out, but more and more people are being made aware of this happening, which is a really wonderful thing. On the bright side, every time YouTube does these missteps, they're just driving themselves further. They're just driving themselves further into the ground, in that eventually we're going to have to start moving, and that's going to be a great thing for us, for the consumers of content. And Crowder, he did do a good job. He pointed out how he's being blacklisted, and that's terrible that Crowder's being blacklisted, but I found it very interesting that there's something that he won't say. Now, James Allsup was a conservative YouTuber. He had around 500,000 subscribers, and YouTube deleted him, not because he broke any rules. He didn't break any terms of service, but one day they decided to just delete his whole channel that had millions and millions of views. Like I said, about 500,000 subscribers, and they deleted it not because he broke any guidelines or rules, but merely because they did not like his opinion. And before that, he was deleted from both Facebook and Instagram. If you were following him on Instagram, all he didn't post anything political. It was basically just family photos and photos of what he's doing as his hobbies with cars and that kind of thing. A week or two before that, they deleted him off of Facebook and Instagram, where he doesn't even post anything remotely political. But YouTube deleted him, censored his whole channel just because they don't like his opinions, which is actually scary that it's come to that point. They keep changing and making more obscure what their rules actually are, but now they're just openly delete you if they happen to not like your opinion or what you're saying. And Crowder, to my knowledge, and if I'm wrong, certainly I'd like you to correct me on this, but to my knowledge, he's never even mentioned the name James Allsup. And part of this is, like I pointed out in other videos, one issue with Crowder is anyone that is further to the right than him, he doesn't like to acknowledge, or if he has to acknowledge them, he's very quick to disassociate himself with them. He'll never have someone that's actually more right-wing than he is as a guest on his show, even if it's to debate him. And can you imagine, one thing Crowder was saying throughout this new video was he has the #1 conservative channel on YouTube. But can you imagine, which is, by the way, isn't that kind of weird? First, is Crowder even a conservative? Especially lately, he seems to be much more libertarian. So I don't even consider him a conservative myself. Someone like Allsup is actually trying to conserve things, but Crowder, which makes you kind of think too, in a way, at times Crowder seems like he's controlled opposition. I don't think he is controlled opposition, but this guy's the #1 conservative channel who doesn't really care about conserving any kind of traditional American values whatsoever. And one thing he pointed out, which is very true, is YouTube, they want to influence the upcoming 2020 election to get the result they want. That's unquestionable, and it's good that he's bringing that up, making people aware of that. But it's kind of odd that they would want to censor Crowder to influence the upcoming 2020 election. In 2016, he wouldn't endorse Donald Trump, and in fact, he actually made a video talking about how his wife refuses to vote for Donald Trump because I guess she finds him morally, she finds him too immoral for her. Donald Trump doesn't meet her standards. She's disgusted by him. So he did make a video to tell us that his moral wife couldn't vote for Donald Trump, and he wouldn't endorse Trump himself. In fact, he was a Ted Cruz guy all along. But so this guy, the number one supposed conservative channel, like I said, he seems like controlled opposition at times, which I don't think he is. But he does certainly have a large audience. Can you imagine, though, if he would actually talk about this issue regarding James Allsup and make it known to his large audience? And can you imagine, to take it a step further, how huge it would be? What an amazing, great thing Crowder could do if he would actually have James Allsup as a guest on his show to talk about this. Now, certainly, Crowder doesn't agree with Allsup's political stance and opinions, and that's okay. We don't have to agree in life. It's okay to disagree with people in life. But the problem is, and this is one of the reasons Crowder would never have him on, just one of many reasons why Crowder wouldn't have him on, is there's kind of a guilt by association, and he really wants to be part of the big boys club, and he wants to be on good terms for his business with YouTube, so he doesn't want to have someone so controversial, I think, like James Allsup on, even though he did have Alex Jones. Controlled opposition. Talk about controlled opposition. I don't know if Alex Jones is, but he's certainly no right-winger either, Alex Jones. So think about that. That's kind of my challenge to Crowder. At least talk about the issue regarding James Allsup. At least say his name out loud. But you would be doing an amazing service if you would actually bring James on as a guest on your show. And hey, it could work out too, because you have your half-Asian lawyer. James Allsup is part Filipino, so there you go. They have something in common, your lawyer and Allsup, and that would be amazing. But what's my point to this video? What am I trying to say to you ultimately? What I'm trying to say to you is, it's good to be aware of these situations that Crowder's bringing up, and it's good that he's making people aware of it. But don't get so into this attitude that he's trying to play off of, it's us versus them. Kind of like how he's also saying throughout the video, he really wants to stand up for smaller conservative channels, when in reality, he comes off much more as an elitist. Who does he have on as a guest on his show? He wants to have on the Shapiros, the Jordan Petersteins, even Lauren Chen. He wants to have people that are really not so traditionally conservative. And I'm not against some of these people like Paul Joseph Watson, but he wants to make sure if he's going to have someone on as a guest, it's going to be a big benefit. Someone that has a large audience, maybe Allsup with his 500,000 subscribers, maybe Crowder considers that chicken feed, and definitely he doesn't want to risk being associated with the so-called extremist like James Allsup, whose positions a few decades ago would have been pretty mainstream, actually. Nothing extreme. Even a lot of Democrats would have agreed with many of James Allsup's opinions. But Crowder wants to be part of that elite club, so don't get so sucked into this us versus them, and we have to join Crowder's side, because in reality, what side is Crowder on? He's on his own. He's on his own side. So keep that in mind. Be aware of these issues, but don't get too sucked into the emotion, which is also what he's trying to do. And he's on his own side, which is totally fine, but just understand that and take it for what it is. Take his content for what it is. So now that I've said my piece, don't spend all your time on the internet. Go out and enjoy yourself.